Yes, it is true. Donald Trump will become the 47th president of the United States. And this is not just a prediction, it's a spoiler. And you might be wondering why an outsider like me is so sure that Donald Trump is very well on his way to the White House. And frankly, there are many reasons that make me so sure that Trump will become the next president. With the first reason being Trump's own opponent, Kamala Harris. Now, if faking accents or lying about her job at McDonald's or even her vice presidential pick, if these reasons were not enough already, well, Kamala Harris just gave the American people another reason not to vote for her. And this time, the reason is religion.
She's very destructive to religion. She's very destructive to Christianity and very destructive to evangelicals and to the Catholic Church. And she is, let me put it this way, Ben, she is your worst nightmare. Much worse than Biden, and he wasn't so hot.
As we know, religion is and should be a very private and a personal matter. But when it comes to politics, religion is also a very important subject because it is of importance to the American people. And this is where Kamala Harris really dropped the ball by skipping the Al Smith dinner. Now, for those of you who may not know, the Al Smith dinner is held every year in remembrance of the first ever Roman Catholic presidential nominee. Not just that, but through this dinner, they also raise funds for Catholic charities supporting the children and women who are in various needs. All in all, it is a very important dinner, obviously held for a very good cause, but in the political world, it is also a very crucial event. So crucial that since 1984, every single presidential candidate has attended this dinner. Even back in 2020, when physical events were not possible, they held this dinner virtually, and both Donald Trump and Joe Biden attended it. However, Kamala Harris broke that streak. Kamala Harris became the first ever presidential candidate to not attend the dinner, to skip the dinner since 1984, the first one. Obviously, this gave Trump an opportunity to call her decision to skip the dinner disrespectful and insulting to the Catholics.
My opponent feels like she does not have to be here, which is deeply disrespectful to the event and in particular to our great Catholic community. Very disrespectful.
Trump, as we know, is great on the microphone, and Kamala Harris, by skipping the dinner, she may have proved Joe Biden's point to be accurate. Joe wasn't kidding when he said that. You know, Joe Biden has really never backed down from an interview or backed down from a face-off against Donald Trump. But you can't say the same for Kamala Harris, can you? Maybe she is a little bit weaker than Joe Biden. And you might be thinking that, hey, this guy right here on YouTube has no idea what he's talking about. Kamala Harris, by skipping that dinner, she did not insult me or anybody else. It's all okay. This guy is overreacting. And you might be right. You know, Kamala Harris, as we know, is the current serving vice president of America. She's got things to do, right? So she might have run into a conflicting schedule, or maybe something last minute came up. Who knows? And that's okay, that's fair game. But this wasn't the only event that really disrespected the Catholics. Take a look at this video from one of her recent rallies where this movement happened.
And they did as he intended. Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally. No, I think you meant to go to the smaller one down the street.
I know that hecklers, they're annoying. But as a presidential candidate, you have to be smarter than that. There could have been better ways of shutting down that heckler. And ignoring her altogether could have been a great way. It wouldn't have created so much controversy for Kamala Harris. It would have been a great way. And this kind of tells you the kind of level of patience that Kamala Harris really has, right? If she can lose her patience and say something so disrespectful to a heckler, how is she going to deal with the likes of Ukraine and Russia? Oh, she'll deal with them just the way she's been dealing so far, and maybe that's why the world is blowing up.
They said the wrong things. That war should have never started. She was the emissary. They sent her in to negotiate with Zelensky and Putin, and she did. And the war started 3 days later. And that's the kind of talent we have with her. She's worse than Biden.
But not all hope is lost for Kamala Harris. After all, she's got the endorsement of Taylor Swift. And yes, media networks such as MSNBC really tried to make a big deal out of Swift endorsing Kamala Harris. However, it seems like people are a little bit smarter than that. It seems like people refuse to be influenced by an influencer when it comes to picking their next president.
Screw you, Taylor Swift. Not only does she pick a side in a hotly contested presidential election, alienating at least half of her fan base, but she says the reason she's voting for Kamala Harris is because of Tim Walz's LGBTQ stance.
You know, Taylor Swift is not the only one who actually endorsed Kamala Harris. There's also this former WWE wrestler. You know, but when it comes to the wrestling ring, Batista, he might be the animal. Batista, he might be several-time former world champion. But Batista is no match to the Phenom, The Undertaker. And The Undertaker has endorsed officially Donald Trump. Trump, of course, is a WWE Hall of Famer himself. He stepped into the WWE ring several times and is good friends with former owner and CEO Vince McMahon. So even when it comes to the WWE ring and endorsements from WWE superstars, Trump is ahead of Kamala Harris. Now let's step out of the WWE ring for a little bit and let's talk about the other celebrities who have endorsed either of the candidates. Now, Mark Zuckerberg has really remained unbiased and has not leaned towards either of the candidates as of now, but he did have to say this after the assassination attempt on President Trump.
Yeah, I mean, seeing Donald Trump get up after getting shot in the face and pump his fist in the air with the American flag is one of the most badass things I've ever seen in my life. But, and I think, look, at some level as an American, it's like hard to not get kind of emotional about that spirit and that fight. And I think that that's why a lot of people like the guy.
And the CEO of Mark Zuckerberg's rival brand, X, that is Elon Musk, obviously, is a big Trump supporter, is a big MAGA supporter, and he is giving away $1 million to any random person who signs a petition that supports the Constitution of America. And there's been a lot of debates on the legality of what Elon Musk is doing, that is giving away money. Kamala Harris was actually asked point blank about it, and it seems like there's not much that the Democratic Party or Kamala Harris can do to stop Elon Musk.
I think people are looking into that. On the second point,
When you say people, do you mean the U.S. government?
I mean, I hear that folks are looking into it just based on the stuff you all are reporting.
At the beginning of this presidential campaign, it seemed to me like it was the world against Donald Trump. But as the weeks went on, and Trump, he kept doing these interviews and these podcast appearances, the town halls, the debates, Trump was out there. And he was meeting the American people, serving food at McDonald's, meeting his supporters, surviving not one but 2 assassination attempts, and still showing up the very next day. All of it has really shaped Donald Trump as the perfect presidential candidate there has been in a long time. And meanwhile, Kamala Harris, she spent the majority of her campaign trying to scare the American public of Donald Trump, trying to tell them how scary Donald Trump is, what a big threat Donald Trump is, trying to remind everybody of January 6th over and over and over again. Kamala, for much of her campaign, avoided interviews and really came across as unprepared when she failed to answer some very important questions, such as,
will she allow abortion in the 8th month, 9th month, 7th month?
Come on.
Okay, would you do that? Why don't you ask her that question?
Why don't you answer
That's
the
problem.
question?
yeah, she totally ignored Trump when he asked her that. But Kamala has failed to win over the American public, not just the majority, but also the minorities. So as a candidate who is not super popular among the minorities, as a candidate who has failed to win over the American women, does Kamala Harris stand a chance against Trump? Well, all I can say is that if Hillary Clinton could not beat Trump, Kamala Harris for sure is not going to beat Trump. And coming back to the topic of the Al Smith dinner, let's just remind everyone that the last presidential candidate to skip that dinner back in 1984, he lost the election by a landslide. Is Kamala Harris next? I would say so. With less than 2 weeks to go, anything can happen. But if you were to ask me, I would say that Donald Trump is the next president of the United States of America. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button, share it with your friends, family, and network, and make sure to pen down your comments below as I'll be reading and writing to each one of you. Thank you so much for watching this video, and make sure to subscribe to the channel so you can be updated with all the latest videos coming up soon. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.